All right, I am live. Okay. Hello, everybody. We're here today. Unfortunately, our guest is not going to make it, but I have a surprise guest who I'm going to invite right now. Hey, Clarissa. Okay. Awesome. I think I did it quicker this time.
Hi,
Yes. Good morning.
good morning.
Hi. So
Good.
I'm so glad you took my text this morning.
Yeah,
Uh, I was like, oh man, 11:30 came really quickly. But yeah, unfortunately, Josette wasn't able to come on today. She is under the weather, and we hope she feels better quickly. But we hope to have her in the future, so we'll announce when she's going to be able to join us. But under really quick circumstances, I text Clarissa here to join me on live. And because she is the go-getter that she is, she said, let's do it. Not knowing anything, no prep, nothing. So I'm really grateful for you coming on. And I figured today we would just talk in general what this whole Powerhouse Connect aspect is about. And it's obviously about empowerment, but also highlighting impactful stories and people that have chosen paths that are fitting for them for different reasons, and much of why Powerhouse was created has a lot to do with the longevity in which we've worked together over the past couple years, and also specifically with Impact Junkie. And that, so I wanted to kind of, one, let people hear your story and why you're so passionate about impact entrepreneurship specifically, and then kind of just tie in some new updates and things that are going to be happening with Impact Junkie. And we hope that others who are also inspired to love people, go places, and change lives will also join in the movement. So introduce yourself, where are you from, and also what you're doing currently.
perfect. Well, hi, Zuri. Good morning to you. So thankful that our lives are connected. My name is Clarissa. I'm currently based outside of Richmond, Virginia, and I work with Impact Junkie. I also love serving at my church. I'm super involved there. But I think this is a really special conversation because a big part of this conversation included Zuri. So Zuri has been uh un I don't know what the word is, but
All right.
advisor to me. Whatever you want to call it, an unofficial advisor
Mhm.
in my life for the past, I guess, 3 or 4 years now. And so I love seeing you in your vein and helping others and advising others because I feel like I've benefited from your services uh, in many ways. So thank you. But I've worked with Impact Junkie, which I believe all of us are called to impact lives, and that's the junkie in us. We're addicted to impacting lives, and so many of us feel that way. But I have always loved impacting lives and loving other people, and so that's what drove me to go to Impact Junkie. One of the things that I think is really cool is I remember being on this journey with trying to figure out like what I want to do career wise. You have this traditional pathway of like get a job, get
Mhm.
married, have kids, which is awesome, and I support that. Uh, and I always dreamed of starting a nonprofit on the side, right? Like that was the dream. And then I
Right.
realized that you could combine all of them. You could have a job, you could travel, you could do all the things you love and impact lives and it be sustainable. And that's what drove me to Impact Junkie. And there's a lot to unpack there, but
Mhm.
that's really been the journey. But it has been a crazy journey too. So
Yeah, so
very excited.
Impact Junkie officially launched in 2017. I joined at an event at Christian Life Center in Maryland, where Philip came to basically showcase what was going to be happening at the um, denominational gathering for youth in that summer, and so I saw his presentation and I was intrigued. Clarissa met him under other very funny circumstances.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of slight stalking, but very good stuff.
Yes.
And actually coincidentally landed in the same location with Philip, and made her outrageous like introduction. It was just like, this is going to be crazy, but I'm definitely ready to jump on and do whatever. We have seen Impact Junkie transform internally and externally in the past, what is it now? What are we, 3 years out? And it has definitely taken same mission, but I think different tactics on how we can spread that message, and one being through education. Particularly, I know that I worked closely with Clarissa and Philip in implementing this framework that he uses in Impact Junkie at Johns Hopkins University in my role as an advisor and now director. And one of the big things we were drawn to about Philip and his expertise was around the problem solving and innovation spaces. And so maybe Clarissa, you could talk about some of your interest in your growth in that area based on your prior experiences.
So one thing I want to point out about what we've done with Impact Junkie, it is a true startup. So if you've ever read any startup books or anything and all the advice they give you, I encourage you to read them, but none of them prepare you for the journey of a startup. None of them. There's still things that I don't think have been written yet that are supposed to help startups. And so for the first half of working with Impact Junkie and with my role was one, wearing many, many, many hats, and being in that startup life. And I know some people may be ready to go to that startup life and start an adventure. But it is one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things, and you have to really believe in what you do, because if you don't, you won't wake up every day and do it, because there's no one hovering over you asking you, did you complete your task? You're
Right.
making tasks and doing it. And so I just wanted to put that out there, like in terms of startup life. It definitely was a hard road of figuring out, what do we want to offer? How do we want to help people? How do we not just do what everyone else is doing, and really have a core belief in what we do? And so it has been this journey of trying new things, putting yourself out there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when you look back at the times it doesn't, those are the ones you learn the most from.
Right.
Because it's painful in the moment, but you start learning from it. And so if anyone is in a position of wondering about startup life, different things like that, it's just like raising a child is how I like to say it.
You put in your best effort to just hope for the best sometimes.
Yeah. There's no manual. There's no manual. There's no series of steps you can take. Everyone's journey is different. And so right now I feel like Impact Junkie is like literally a 4 or 5-year-old. And so they can walk now, they can do different things, which is great. But now we're taking it to the next step. So I know just that part of the journey is interesting. So if anyone's interested in startup life, I'd love to talk about it. I'm still digesting it and reflecting on it. Probably take me a couple of years to really realize what happened. But yeah, I think about impacting lives with Impact Junkie, that was the whole goal, was to create something to impact lives that was sustainable. We see so many short-term solutions to helping people, and also helping people, but not allowing them to help themselves. And so this framework that Zuri talked about really helps people follow a step-by-step process to impact lives, but also make it sustainable. And so, but that's been a long journey. And sometimes we had to take our own medicine.
Right,
too.
right.
Teaching and being like, we're teaching it, but we're not even doing it. So we got to go back to the drawing board and make sure we're living out this framework.
Right.
I hope that answers some of that, but I just think the startup journey has been very interesting to reflect.
Interesting. Yeah. You know what? As you're talking,
You've seen the internal struggle. Uh,
man.
it can be different every week. Like, we're doing this. Oh, we're not doing that anymore. We're
Hmm.
doing something different, but it's just responding to the needs. So,
I agree. And I think that's what's central to the philosophy that Philip really has kept consistent was the empathy component and being very present to fulfilling the needs, whether
yeah,
it be for an initiative, a company, or just simply the services that you provide through your organization. And I will say, as a testament to the framework, I think that as a pre-health advisor, the students I advise are very tunnel visioned often to their pursuit to medicine, and which is not a bad thing in the sense that you have to have such a focus in making sure you can reach that goal because it definitely comes with different obstacles and challenges. But what was nice about changing up what they thought their experience would be in the graduate program with
mm,
the healthcare problem solving and healthcare innovation class was particularly to challenge them to realize that there's a lot of things they can be doing way before they are doctors, and
right.
that innovation is not reserved for the elitists
No,
or yes, right?
right.
So if you want to talk a little bit about how you have not only discovered for yourself but also inspired others in understanding how innovation is really just bringing solutions to and better ways of doing things that can help people live like either more or well or whatever the case may be depending on the vicinity.
And I think, yeah, like you said, a lot of times people think innovation, you have to get a degree for it. You don't.
Mm-mm.
Innovation is all by learning by doing and learning how to do it better each time. You're going to learn to do something and you may do it one way for a little bit and then you do it again and you get more efficient with it. And so innovation
Right.
is not just for, those that are sitting in offices at Apple or Google. All of us are called to innovate and change and push ourselves to not settle for second best. And one thing about the innovation process is it's driven by people. If you're just in an office, never talking to people, your innovations will only go so far because your innovations aren't actually helping people. And that's something I've learned from Philip with Impact Junkie is we don't innovate just to do cool things, just to have the coolest social media channel or just to have all this cool stuff because that's what everyone else is doing. We innovate to respond to needs. And if you're
Hmm.
responding to needs and you're constantly saying, how can we do this better? How can we make this better? How can we make this more efficient? How can we make, the consumer or the customer or the person in your organization or the saint or whatever it may be, how can we make their experience? How can we meet their needs? It's not just about giving them stuff. It's really about meeting needs. And if you meet needs, you will always be innovating. You will constantly be changing because people change. They're going
Right.
to change. You can't just create one, you know,
Thing that will meet all needs. Right.
people change. Like, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. What I needed 5 years ago, I need something different now. And so
Hmm.
you have to constantly be ready to change. Once you think you figured it out, it's probably going to change. That's why thank goodness our iPhones didn't stay the way, like as we're
Right.
with us,
Right.
innovation. But yeah, it's very tech driven, but innovation can be very simple things too. I always give the example that we always think tech and all this stuff for innovation, but a trash can is innovative. It's what didn't work well, and we've seen this in other countries, is when you throw your trash on the ground or in your house. I've been to
Hmm.
homes in, underserved communities or countries where they don't have a trash can in their house.
Yeah.
And oh, wow, maybe you should have a trash can. This could help collect the trash. Maybe you should throw it on the floor so the bugs don't get it. And
Hmm.
so we sometimes assume that the simplest things aren't very innovative, but sometimes that's what people need. They don't need all these fancy programs. Maybe they just need a trash can in their house to help them
Right.
become cleanliness or all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
I think innovation is just realizing it's a process and that all of us are called to innovate and all of us are called to create and do and be part of that process. Because if you're just getting tasks as they come to you and you're just doing them. Let's say you have a boss or you have a supervisor and they're just giving you tasks and you're not questioning how to make it better, how to make it more efficient, how to innovate. I feel like you're missing out on the adventure,
Right.
missing out on the opportunities to really help people. And so the innovation process is for everyone, but it can be very difficult because there's no end in sight. It doesn't stop. And I think that's the hardest thing. You stop, you're like, we're done innovating. No.
No, that's not a thing. I think the question becomes is what skills are you gaining and in what ways and what vicinities do you see your skills being best used to innovate? I do think that sometimes your focus can change because of your own experiences and the expertise that you possibly, or education or whatever you're gaining, can push you into different venues than you originally started. But I think innovation is less of a profession and more of a mindset. Like every time you go into something, you're thinking like, how can I make whatever I'm doing better? That's why you don't need to quit your job today and start a business, right? You can be very innovative in the positions that you are and helping work be done more effectively, efficiently. I think COVID particularly, and being home has made people and businesses think, how do we still keep the world running when we can't physically be in places? And so a lot of social platforms, as well as different type of mechanisms that allow people to connect without actually being together, have been enhanced or developed. And so I think just overall, I think innovation, it's a scary word. Like I didn't want to embrace entrepreneurship. I was just like, and I've talked about that in the past, but it's definitely something that has grown on me. And I think that innovation and entrepreneurship, not in the classical sense of, let's say, starting a job, but someone who is saying they're going to dedicate themselves to solving problems and bringing solutions wherever that they are and putting their hands to the plow kind of thing. I personally think that joining organizations and being part of movements like Impact Junkie and many others that are out there who are doing that might be a great place for you to put your efforts in and join an investment, right? So I'm an impact junkie. Everybody's an impact junkie, but we absolutely encourage those who are interested in being more involved in this framework and learning more about it and seeing how they can excel their own careers, change careers. Through Powerhouse, you could definitely message me on Powerhouse. I can connect you that way, or you could go directly to the Impact Junkie Instagram and website to sign up. There's some exciting new things.
Yeah, with some new things coming.
There's some new things coming in the next month. And so I'm personally excited to see how it's going to grow because it's been very successful at Hopkins. And I think that taking that and making it more digestible for not just students, but everyone is going to make it for a nice, easy way to get people involved all over the world. So I want to personally thank you, Clarissa, for coming on this morning. Is there any last words of wisdom you want to give the people?
I think one thing I would say is I think a key process for innovation is communication.
Mm-hmm.
You can innovate, you can do all these things, but you got to communicate what you're doing and you got to get feedback from other people. So if you're going to read any books, read all the books you can about how to communicate, how to express yourself, how to communicate with team members, because innovation, you can't do it by yourself. You need a team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the standard. Like if you're going to read anything, that's what I would suggest. Any resources on communication, watch all the videos, but don't be scared. Try something new. It's so worth it. You're going to learn by doing, and that's going to be the most exciting thing. But it's also hooked to impacting lives, which is what we're all about. And I'm excited about those new updates because we've been innovating. So it's a result of innovation. So I'm thankful that we're hoping it pays off. So if it doesn't,
right,
I'll let you know too.
We'll just pivot and do something else. But I think it's definitely, I think it's
off. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I'm always weary. I'm a caution. So
yeah, I think we think like, oh, we're just doing this new thing. It's like, nope, we've been building this for 4 or 5 years, and now we're
Right.
here to this. So it just, yeah, but it'll
Exactly.
be good. But Zuri, thank you for being such a rock. I think everyone should have you as an advisor in their life, or take 30 minutes or an hour and listen to you, and or have a brainstorming session, strategy session with you. So
Yeah.
thank
Thank you. And I'm here again with Powerhouse Connect. Definitely follow, watch the rest of the Instagram lives. We'll be
you.
up with
Yes.
new posts in the next month. I am your
Woo-hoo.
global melanated advisor.
Yes.
Talk to you guys later.
Bye, Zuri. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Bye.